Okay, so I am back. I'm back. God bless you so much for this time. We are talking about the art of leadership. Talking about the art of leadership, I want to very brief. In the next 20 minutes, I want to take you through what the art of leadership is. So first of all, my name is LD George Kobina Ofori, and I would like to introduce you to my company, that is Stan Incorporated. What we do is it's a leadership, a legal, and a management consultancy. So I'm a consultant when it comes to legal matters, leadership, and management. Okay. So thanks. Okay. Art of leadership. First of all, leadership has no definition. Leadership has no definition. And so when it comes to defining leadership, we try to link leadership definition to some kind of concept or phenomenon. And so sometimes I define leadership and I say leadership is God. Or times I define leadership, I say leadership is like the paparazzi, like the cameraman's job. Okay, but today we want to talk about leadership, the art and science of leadership. Leadership is an art. At the same time, it's a science. But because of time, we can't go into the art and science. We can go only into the art. So leadership has two legs, the art and the science. What I mean is that the personality and the principles of leadership. The personality and the principle of what? Leadership. Okay, so when we are talking about the art of leadership, we are talking about where leadership can be learned. Okay, the art means that something can be learned, can be taught, can be practiced, can be done. You can grow, you can mature in it. When I'm talking about leadership being a science, we are talking about the systematic study, the principles, the theories of leadership. And so we're talking about the personality and the principle of leadership. So leadership is not just a principle that people know, the principles of leadership. No, we have the personality of leadership. Okay, and so when we talk about leadership, what we are saying is that leadership is both an art and a science. Let me take you through the science a little because I was spending more time on the art. So the science are the principles. A good example is the theories of leadership. What do we mean by the theories of leadership? We have transformational leadership, transactional, servant leadership, democracy. Those are the style of governance, the style of leadership that we use. These are the principles. They go by a systematic theory that has been applied, they have been tried. So these are the ways we solve issues, we solve leadership issues. So this is the way we lead, we govern, okay? And so when we employ this, that is when we say that this is the leadership principle. Now, let me chip in this. We don't have a good leader, we don't have a bad leader. What we have is good leadership, bad leadership. And so for instance, if there is a circumstance or there's a situation as a leader and I am trying my best to solve the issue, and instead of using dictatorship, I use some kind of democracy. What I'm doing is that I'm going to fail. I am going to fail at my outcome or what I want to achieve, and I'll be called a bad leader. No, I am not a bad leader. I just operated or applied a bad leadership principle. So we don't have a bad leader or a good leader. What we have is bad leadership principle and good leadership principle. So what is a good leadership principle? A good leadership principle is the one that you apply. You apply a leadership principle to a wrong situation. But if you apply it to a right leadership situation, then it becomes what? A good leadership. Okay, so that is what I want you to get when it comes to that aspect. Now let's go to the leadership as in a person. Okay, leadership as in a person, that is the art. Leadership can be learned. Now there are two things that I want you to get when you are talking about the art of leadership. If you get this understanding, you understand the art of leadership. There is a difference between the spirit of leadership and the leadership spirit. Okay? There's a difference between the spirit of leadership and the leadership spirit. Now, the spirit of leadership, which we have come to know, some people believe that leaders are born. Some also people believe that leaders are made. But this is what I believe. I believe that leaders are born and made. Leaders are not just born. Leaders are not just made. They are born and later they are made. What is what it means? There is a leadership spirit in you. Okay? There is a kind of spirit of leadership in you. There's a leadership spirit in you. There is an inherent ability to lead people in you. That is how God has designed you. You can lead people. There is a gift that you carry. There is a potential to lead people. It's like you seeing a 4-year-old girl. She's already a mother. She's already has that eggs that can produce babies in her. But there is what? Timing. It is wrong. At this time, she can't get pregnant because the timing is wrong. Okay? So there is inherent ability to lead people in you. That is what we call what? The leadership spirit in you. That is the leadership spirit in you. Now, for you to be born means that you come to agreement, or you come to recognition of the greatness that is in you. So you knowing, you getting to know your purpose, the reason why you were born, understanding the concept that this is who you are. That is where you are born as a leader. You come to know that this is what you carry. That is what the leadership spirit that is in you. Now, after you have come to know that you can do this, you have this greatness in you, you can lead, you can do whatever you think you are doing concerning your God-given assignment on earth. Now, for you to become that leader, you need training. You need a mindset, you need environment, you need mentorship, you need education. That is what we call the spirit of leadership. That is where leaders are made. So you are born as a leader. Everybody listening to me is a leader. You are born as a leader, but for you to become that leader that you were born to be, you need what? An attitude. You need a certain kind of mindset. That is what we call the spirit of leadership. So this is where the art of leadership comes in, where the art of leadership is the aspect of leadership that you are trained to become. So leadership is an art in the sense that everybody can be taught how to become a leader. Everybody can be matured how to become a leader. Anybody can be mentored to become what? A leader. That is what we mean by what? The art of leadership. So when we're talking about the art of leadership, we're talking about the personality or the character or the aspect of leadership that we train people to become. But with the science is the theories and the principles that have been tried over the years. You see, that has been accepted, that we employ at a given time. So let me take you through some of the principles of leadership. The principles of leadership that we have, first of all, is the leadership styles, where we have transformational leadership, transactional, servant leadership. Time will not permit me to go more into it. This is what we have. Then we have a place where we call, when it comes to problem solving and decision making, we rely on data. We rely on some kind of logical reasoning. This is the aspect of science. It's also science. In mathematics, we learn logical reasoning, but it's an aspect of science. It's the science aspect of what? Leadership. But when we talk about the art of leadership, I'll be talking about 3 aspects of the art of leadership. I'll be talking about effective communication. Then I'll be talking about vision setting, or the concept of vision, having a vision as a leader. Then I'll talk about emotional intelligence. Then I'll end. Okay, so I'll be using 3 minutes each, or 1 minute each for each of them. When we talk about communication, what is communication? One of the things that you have to understand is that communication is not just talking. Communication is not just talking. When we talk about communication, we are talking about sending forth a message. The word is a message from the sender to the receiver for a feedback. So the objective of communication is that you want to send a message. The message must be accepted. The message must be understood. The message must be acted upon. They must respond to the message. So the objectives of communication is just 3 or 4. You want to send a message. You want people to hear the message. You want them to accept what you are saying. You want them to act upon, respond to it, understand it. And there is a feedback. Communication is not talking. That's why we have verbal communication and non-verbal. Communication is not talking. When you're talking about communication as a leader, to understand communication, you have to understand the aspect of active listening, where you are listening to somebody, being concerned. Empathy is a key aspect of leadership, where you try to be in the shoes of people, not to sympathize, but empathize, like empathy, to be in the shoes of somebody. So one of the things that you would need when it comes to being in the shoes of somebody is what we call what? Active listening. Because when you listen to people, you help build better relationship with them. As a leader, you must know that before you can get the hand of somebody, lead somebody, you must get their heart, touch their heart, and you can touch their heart by listening to them. Show concern. It's an aspect of communication. Show concern. Another aspect of communication is clarity and transparency. If you are not, if you don't communicate clarity, if you are not transparent in your dealings as a leader, you can't communicate your vision. You can't communicate your objective. You can't communicate your message very well. The people cannot follow. Why? Because they are not getting it clear. So clarity and transparency. Clarity and transparency is what you need. It's what you need. And so the aspect of communication, you have to understand the place of feedback. Communication is a big thing that we can't not say everything here. But one of the most important aspects of communication is feedback. Because feedback will enhance your performance, let you know if you communicated well, and let you know if the people understand you well, let you know if the people really buy into your idea. So when I'm talking about communication, it's something that you will need when you are into leadership. Communication is something that you will need when you are into leadership. Okay, there is an aspect of influence and persuasion that every leader must know how to convince. Every leader must know how to convince. If you are a leader, you have to know how to convince people. If you are a leader, you must know how to convince people. If you don't know how to convince people, to influence people, they can't follow you. Why? Because you will need to convince them. You will need them to accept your vision. You will need them to be with you. You will need them to understand where you are going. They have to accept your message and everything. So when it comes to leadership, we are talking about communication. We are talking about communication. We are talking about active listening. Active listening, we are talking about influence and persuasion. We are talking about clarity and transparency. There is no need for you to hide anything from any of your members. You have to be transparent, like for the people to believe in you. Transparency will help the people to believe in you. Transparency will help the people to believe in you. And there's a need for feedback. When we are talking about feedback, what we are saying is that get responses for any ongoing project or any ongoing project or any ongoing kind of project or any ongoing kind of, let me say, work. You need feedback. Okay, you need feedback. You need persuasion. You need influence. Okay, so this is part of communication. So when we are saying that there is communication, when we are saying that you are communicating well as a leader, we are saying that there is what? Transparency. We are saying that there is transparency. We are saying that there is what? Influence. There's persuasion. There's transparency, and there's what? Feedback. I want to jump to the next one. That's vision setting. Okay, as a leader, one of the arts that you need is the art to have a vision. The art to have a vision. So when you have a vision, that is when we are talking about the vision setting. I have just 7 minutes to go, so I'll rush over it. Vision. For a leader to have a clear vision, one of the things you have to do is to define your vision. So when I walk into GESA, or I walk into any of, let's say, a company or a business, and I don't see the vision statement or the mission statement or the core values, no. You must be always defining your mission. Your vision must always be defined. That is one of the key acts of leaders. The leaders have a vision and they know where they are going, and they have a clear vision. And their objectives are always what? On point. So define your vision. Under vision, one of the things that you need is thinking. You see, the reason why we need a vision is because you are going somewhere and you are taking people somewhere. So you must always be ahead in thinking, ahead in knowledge, ahead on the road. One of the ways to have a clear vision is to perceive a lot in your mind. So vision is an aspect of having a perception. a certain kind of view. And for you to have a good view, you must have a sharp thinking memory. You don't need your eyes to have a vision. You need your heart. But the Bible says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So you are your vision. But for you to become your vision, you must have a good thinking, the ability to think. The ability to do what? To think. Vision is about thinking. Vision is having a strategic thinking, having a strategic plan. You must be able to predict what is in the future, what is going to happen in the next 5 years. What shape must GESA take? We, the executive, how are we going to respond? How are we going to communicate to our students? There's going to be a time we cannot be calling people, we cannot be sending SMS. We cannot even put messages on Facebook again. There's something else is going to take on. Something else is going to take on in the future. For ability to see and start moving ahead of time. That is what we mean strategic thinking. You must think ahead of time. Okay, and so that is the aspect of vision. And your vision should align with the team's objective. The team has a mandate, has a vision, has an objective, something that they project themselves, they want to commit themselves to. That is where your vision should be in line with. And another thing is that your vision should be in line with the individual objectives of the company. I mean the team members. People don't join company because of pay or because of fat salaries. Though it is one of the motivational theories that money motivates. But if I am going to join a company and the company is going to help me better myself in my own personal goals and principles, I will join the company. Why? Because at the end, I'm going to learn on something that I'm interested in. So your objectives, you have a team members, you have a teamwork. The team members have an objective. They are going somewhere, and your vision is in line. Is in line with them. They can work better. So you don't just employ people as a leader. You just employ people and add on people to your team. You add people who have the same vision mindset, they are working on the same road where you are going. That is how you must align what your team objectives to that of your vision. Another thing that the last aspect I will talk about is how to execute what? The vision. The place of implementation. We draft the plan. Next year plan for GESA has been drafted already. Assignment has been given, tasks have been arranged. But the question is, are we going to execute? Are we going to implement? Implementation is the last stage, but it is the most important because plans can be taken. If you don't implement, you will not make progress. You must implement whatever. You must implement whatever vision or whatever objective you have for 2025. We must execute it. In our execution, we can fail, but we don't have to give up as leaders. The last aspect of the art of leadership I want to talk about is emotional intelligence. And many a times, when we talk about emotional intelligence, what we say is that emotional intelligence is the ability to manage your emotions. That is perfect. That is the best. But that is not that is not all the explanation of emotional intelligence. So this is what it means. There are two words here: emotions and intellect or intelligence. Emotions and intellect. No, you know that you have a soul as a human being. In your soul, we can divide your soul into what? Into three. That is what? Your emotions, your intellect, and your will. That's where you have your willpower, the willingness to do something. Now, your emotions is the part of you that you used to feel sad. You can get feelings. Sometimes you are sad, you are happy. Sometimes you are moody. That is the feeling aspect, your emotions. Your intellect is the ability to, your intelligence, your intellectual capacity, the ability to reason, to think. That is where you are intelligent in school. Now, emotional intelligence is the ability to manage between what? Your emotions and your intellect. That means that as a leader, when do you use your emotions? And as a leader, when do you use your what? Your logical reasoning. There are times that your logical reasoning can be, you can use your logic and you fail your people, or you fail as a leader. Why? Because at that point, we don't need your logical reasoning, you don't need your intellect, you need your emotions. So the ability to manage or to minimize the conflict between your emotions and intelligence or your intellect. That is what we call emotional intelligence. Because at a point in time, logically you want to do this, but this is what you are feeling. So when do you respond to your feelings? Or when do you respond to your intelligence? That is what we call emotional intelligence. And so for you to understand emotional intelligence very well, you have to know the concept of yourself. The concept of yourself. Know your self-importance. Know your self-awareness. Know your self-regulations. You have to understand that this is who I am. I am somebody, I am always taking decisions towards my emotions. So you study yourself, then you know how to manage it. If not, you make mistake. If not, you make mistake. So I would like to end here. Briefly, I just spoke about art of leadership. And I said the art of leadership is an art, is the place of your personality of a leader, not the principle of your leadership. Leadership has two legs, the principle and the personality. So the personality is the aspect of leadership where we can learn. So as we are learning leadership, we know that it comes with an art, the art of leadership. We learn it. So you can learn the art of communication. You can learn the art of what? How to manage your emotions. You can learn the art of how to set your vision. So basically, this is where I'll end because of time. My 20 minutes is up. It was an amazing time to spend with you, GESA. I hope we will meet face to face again next academic year so that we can share a lot of leadership with you. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.